Good morning, good morning, good morning, and
Good
welcome to
morning.
Waking Up Right with Ivory. I'm your host, Ivory Hunter, and today I'm excited because I got somebody super special. Y'all gonna be excited too. It's my boy, Mr. Wood Harris. What's up, Wood? How you doing, man?
What's happening, young Ivory? Looking good as usual. How are
Are
you?
you? I'm amazing, man. I'm doing wonderful, man. And I gotta preface it, man, by saying that just how the universe works, man. It was so awesome running into you the other day, man, because I've been trying to get in touch with you, and then seeing you, I was like, I was talking to my grandma. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, Big Mike. I'm like, I think that's. I was like, yo, Wood. It was like, what's up, all right? It was
I
awesome,
say,
man.
yo. You say, yo. We say, yo. One of those moments.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. So, how's the family, man? How you been, man?
Blessed, bro. Especially given the times we live in. I'm one of the more blessed people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
all is well. The family's great. I spent the year out of California. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, mm,
Working. Then when
okay.
COVID hit, initially I was in Chicago. I had already been in Chicago. For like 4 or 5 months working. You know what I'm saying? And my mother
Mm,
lived. My mother's 80 years old. You did
yeah.
so I ended up staying there.
Mm.
Until like after November of last year. So I stayed for about a year. You know,
During COVID.
during COVID, I stayed with my.
Yeah,
In Chicago, my mother.
yeah.
And her sister lived together, but my mother's sister is older than she is.
Wow.
So
Mm-mm.
and they're in great shape and all that, but I just couldn't leave. I just couldn't leave like that. So I had
Right.
a, I had, I had an apartment there from shooting and working there. So I just kept that apartment, extended it, ended up staying there for like a year. And I hadn't been
Yeah.
home because I'm from Chicago. I hadn't been
Mm-hmm.
there my whole adult life that long.
Wow.
I
Wow.
hadn't been home for a
Mm-hmm.
year of time and seeing my mother since I was a kid, bro. And I
Yeah.
realized, you know what? I've never had an apartment in the city I'm from because I left kind of young.
Mm-hmm.
First time I had an apartment in Chicago, you know, and I had
Mm-hmm.
a loft, and I was like, wow, I was getting to know my city, so it ended up interesting. And I caught COVID too, bro. I'm pretty sure I never got the test, but like many people who believe they had it, I believe I had it.
Mm. While
Yeah,
you were out there, while you were in
while I was
Chicago.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up staying away from my mom for a certain amount of time, but I didn't know about COVID. It was very early. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking like February of 2020 or maybe March, but no,
Mm-hmm.
but really February. And I didn't have the respiratory issues, but I had man, the sleep thing was more than sleep. It was basically oxygen depletion. So all you
Mm.
could do is sleep.
Mm.
So man, it was not a normal sleep. You know what I'm saying? I could
Yeah,
not
yeah.
move my head. It was, and you know how it feels to be in the twilight, like right before you go to sleep. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
so sleepy, and you just next thing you know, the twilight, and then you go to
Mm-hmm.
sleep. It's the
Yeah.
moment before you just really go to sleep. I felt like that when you're supposed to be energetic and up.
So wow. So it's just like a
It was
consistent feeling
all
that.
consuming, bro. When I tell you,
Yeah.
when you hear people talk about COVID and they talk about, man, I was tired. It's not just tired. There's not a better way to describe it. But
Wow.
and it's not because your energy is gone, but it's because your oxygen, which fuels your energy, is gone.
Mm. Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
breathe all you want, but can't get enough oxygen. And then
Mm.
after that, I had like muscular ticks that I never had before. And I had those
Mm.
for many months. Like, you know how you have a twitching eye?
Mm-hmm.
I had twitching pecs, twitching, man, this shit was crazy, Ivory, when I tell you.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I was
And that and
literally,
that and,
go ahead, what we say?
now just and those ticks lasted for months. Like they would come
Yeah, they
random, just
periodically,
randomly.
I'm gonna be honest with you, they come a little now still. Like I guess I'm a long hauler, I guess, because
Mm-hmm.
it's infrequent, but it's kind of scary because it's not just a twitch in the eye. It's like a pet twitch. and you don't know if it's a heart attack. You don't know what the hell is going on, or your arm and shoulder in an odd place will just twitch and move.
Wow.
And man, I definitely had it, but I know I haven't had it since. Well, I might have had it 2 times. You know,
They say you can get it. I heard you can get it more than
yeah, it's like a cold. When can you not get a cold? Because COVID is related not to influenza, but more to the common cold. And you can get a cold. Shit, some people grow up getting colds like 2-3 times a year. I will admit that I had the flu too, Ivory. I had the H1N1, serious like swine flu.
Wow.
And it's weird because I'm not sickly like that, But I went to a Laker game back when H1N1 was popping. So I'm at the Staples Center, and people see me. I'm shaking a million hands. So I don't know what I did, rub my eyes or whatever at the game, and I felt, I could feel the virus. I didn't know it was the virus, but I can feel something, taking me over. And I swear, man, when I got home the next day, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to fight this cold. And then I was like, nah, this is like the flu. And I didn't think it would be so serious. So I didn't go to the doctor straight away. I thought, I get my juices in me. I'll be, home remedy first, right? So I'm thinking, okay. So I let like 3 days go by. Bro, on the 3rd and 4th day, it was turning into pneumonia.
Wow.
So now I'm at the crib. I'm laid up. I'm not letting my girl know because I don't really know, but I'm just like quarantining myself. I'm keeping myself in my room. And bro, when I tell you, man, please, that was worse than what I experienced with COVID. But I think people experience COVID the way I experienced H1N1 because it was respiratory. I couldn't breathe, at night. And it's hard to go to sleep, but then you just sort of like, you have to sleep. And then it's scary to sleep because your breath, I mean, you can't really breathe. So your lungs are whistling, you have that hissing, that wheezing sound, and I had childhood asthma as a kid that you grow out of. So I know what it's like to have like a scary respiratory issue. It's like drowning.
Yeah.
You can't get out the water. There's no water to get out.
Number one, I'm just grateful, man, that you came through, man. You know what I mean? Because it sounds like you definitely, because I know I know your mindset, man. I know it was tough, man. So, and you kind of keep to yourself. So I know to battle that, man, and get through it, man. That's a blessing. I'm glad we talking right now, man. Yeah, because some people aren't, some people aren't, went through what you went through, and they didn't make it.
The bizarre thing too, what's really bizarre is people who say that it's not real. I know why they might say that, but there's so much evidence to it being real. People don't feel like something's real that don't directly touch them.
Yeah.
But man, I was around a couple young cats a few days ago, and they talk so much crap about it. Like, oh man, that shit ain't real, bro. Everything fake. And I was like, well, okay, so what you gonna do about it then? From that angle, where do you go? You just gonna go down an ignorant lane. You make an excuse to be in your own, no pun intended, bubble. You know what I'm saying? But you have an ideological bubble that you're in, which won't allow the truth to come in. So I'm telling these young cats something like that, man, they'd rather believe Bill Gates pulled COVID out of a block of ice. Literally.
Yeah.
Like Bill Gates made this. Okay.
You know what, like you said initially, man, I get why people don't believe things, because I was torn, because of my natural, because of the media, social media, and you have your doubts and all that stuff. But again, what you just said triggered something. Like, it's the same thing. It comes down to faith, right? Like some people like, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. So you're gonna go live your life recklessly.
Yeah,
I'd rather believe in something and try to live my life right for the good of humanity than just because I don't believe that. So I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's the same thing. Even if you don't believe in the COVID,
exactly the same thing. It is
exactly.
precisely the same thing. But a lot
Yeah.
of people don't have faith. A lot
Yeah.
of people
And
are not powerful
boom,
believers.
boom.
So they don't have a mechanism that can powerfully believe in something outside of them. They don't have a God, a figure that's outside of them. And they don't have nothing inside either.
Hmm.
Like, and not to knock the cats, but you know, falling back on conspiracies that they come off, your IG feed or whatever, and not doing the due diligence of the research necessary to make clarity of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have the God and you don't have the math. You're not mathematical. You don't understand stuff. So now
Mm-hmm.
in America, particularly, the alternative truth is real. You know
Mm-hmm.
that alternative truth that they came up with?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And black people and all people are affected by it. Black people are heavily affected by it because we have a world of things, a history of things that makes us search for a different angle on things,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to be that way. So with the
Mm-hmm.
vaccine, it's difficult because there's a history of toxic science as it relates to black people.
It makes sense, man. That to why you kind of like disappear from social media. You kind of that's not you're not conforming to what society or Hollywood says you have to do. You do your thing, man, and that's what I respect and love about you, man. And I think that's why a lot of cats mess with you because you stick to who you are, man. You always been that type of cat, extremely talented, man. Like we didn't, I didn't even talk about that, man. Like yeah, like I love your work, man. Love,
Oh,
love,
thank
love
you,
your
bro.
work, brother. Like, and we boys, and I never even really tell you that, but I want to give you your flowers while you're here, man. Like you're amazing, man. Like your body of work has been outstanding from The
Thank you,
Wire,
Ivory.
from Rim of the Titans, Above the Rim, everything. The Do a Distance Story, Empire. You've been killing it, man. What let me what got you started into acting? Like I know you went to college for it, but what was your initial? What made you want to get into acting?
I would say probably what made me want to get into acting is I um I grew up watching with my dad like the black and white movies, and my father was a black and white buff, movie buff.
Mm-hmm.
So early on, I got into James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, the early actors
Wow.
that influenced, I guess, a whole generation of other actors.
Mm-hmm.
Older than me, actors older than me, but I was very much into it. So basically, when I was a kid, I would do stuff like I see the movie or I watch the TV program, and I'm a little kid, a single digit age, but I would go into the next room in the mirror and try to act like James Cagney, you know. And then I'm
Uh-huh.
also artistic in general, like a painting person who paints and uh music. I just to me it's all just a box of crayons and you just pick up the crayons, you just start coloring with it. And it don't matter if
Mm.
it's music or acting or any creative process. It could
I
be
love that metaphor.
a
Love it.
businessman. It doesn't matter, there's the creative process. So I think I was bit kind of young and I had a rap group um as a young teen. So we opened for like a lot of people don't know this, but we opened for Big Daddy Kane,
Wow, that was
Queen
my guy,
Latifah.
right? Woo!
That's the guy. You heard?
Yo,
Like
that Big Daddy is he's one of the coldest
he
lyricists of
cold,
all
bro.
time. Like his
Like
stuff right
of
now,
course, of course, of
it could
course.
sound,
So
it could kill right now.
right now, especially right now, where it's all like a bunch of mumble rap or whatever.
Mm.
But so yeah, we opened for them. Two Live Crew,
Wow.
NWA, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, all those earlier cats, Special
Mm-hmm.
Ed, because I
Another
was in that
beast.
like, and being from Chicago, there weren't a lot of rap groups, so I'm sort of pre Common. There was no Common when I
Mm-hmm.
was doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But Tongue Twister existed. He was called Tongue Twister. Now they just call him Twister, but he was Tongue Twister at the time. And so I remember doing like shows with Tongue Twister at the roller rink and just like, so I was
Wow.
bit early in art, you know, just in
Yeah.
art expression and in sports too, because I'm big on sports.
How
And
how old were you during that time? Like around when you were like 16? Was you teen like
yeah,
mid 16?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
18
Yeah.
years old. From
And,
16 to 19, I I was pretty much pursuing it pretty heavily. And so we ended up with a manager, and the manager got us all the gigs we got. And so I thought, okay, so I'm gonna go into this music thing, you know. And I thought I was
mm-hmm.
Big Daddy Kane, Ivory. I had. Wait till I tell you
I
this,
can imagine. I wish I could pull up the
bro.
old picture. You probably had
I
the
was Big
box,
Daddy. Yeah,
the
yeah,
gold
yeah,
chains.
yeah. I was biting
And
Big
I
Daddy
heard you rap.
Kane.
So I know you're lyrical. I listened to something last night actually. I went on like one of the old movies. There's something on Apple Music. There's a movie you did that you played the
Oh,
rapper,
oh yeah,
and you
yeah, yeah.
actually
That's called
rapping it.
Just
I was like,
Another Day. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you got that sound, you got that flow. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Like it's come natural to me to be, you know, to do poetry and to do rap. It's something natural to me. But at that time, like I had two dancers, you know, like Big Daddy had Scoop and
You had
Scrap.
dances too. What?
Yeah, I had two
And would you
dancers.
dance? You would, and I know you would dance too because
Yeah,
you
I
like
tell you,
because
bro,
you can
listen,
move. Yeah,
when I tell you
yeah.
exactly, when I tell you I thought I was Big Daddy, I'm not joking, bro. I did his routine. We took his routine and thought like, okay, we'll just take that shit. Like we just took this. So look, I end up opening for Big Daddy Kane using his routine, bro. That's so bogus.
Oh, and you know what I'm saying? That's amazing.
Behind, lift you off the ground, you jump down, you land, they get you, boom. I'm jumping over a dude, he jumping over a dude, I'm in the middle, I get the whole, you know, whatever the real, we're doing the lyrics. It was so much fun. But look, we opened in like big arenas too. So
Wow.
I just was bit by that. The wildest thing ever though, Ivory. We like I said, we opened for the Two Live Crew, bro. And when I
That's
tell
crazy.
you,
Yeah, I
when I
remember the
tell
two live. It was big, yeah, man.
hey, listen, bro. I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. Like girls were coming out the crowd and being sexual on the stage, bro. And the wild shit is that I knew one of the girls.
Oh my God, you like
I knew one of the girls. I was like, oh
it's
shit.
crazy.
Like I couldn't
That's
believe it. Like,
damn.
yeah. Great time.
Experience in the
All
yeah.
day. Yeah.
So when did it shift? When did it shift? Like when you like, because I know
It shifted.
you obviously were doing the good things with music. So when did it
I
shift? Like
was.
music, and you're still doing music, but when did acting like say that's kind of just boom?
Acting took over when I was probably, I want to say 20.
Mm-hmm.
So from 16 to like 19, I did all that. At 20, I mean, really late 19, really, I took it seriously. I had not, when I was in high school, I had not really even applied to colleges or anything. I wasn't really doing that the right way. And you know, I didn't have a guidance counselor that was worth 25 cents. And my parents wasn't really, I mean, what were they going to do? You know what I'm saying? So there was nothing they could do for me. And they weren't going to fill out my applications for me. You know, it just didn't work that way in my household, you know. So, but my brother was already in college. So he went, he had a different process than I had because he had good guidance counselors. He had just another system. And so my brother came home. He saw that I was sort of like just being a home body, you know, like a person who might not ever leave this neighborhood type person, you know. Like, nah, man, you gotta come to school this weekend. You're gonna come down to the school this weekend. So I spent the weekend at the university, which was Northern Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois. And I was bit by that. I was like, wow. I just was bit by the fun and the fact that you be away from home. And I didn't think about the actual academics. At that point, I made it a goal to get to school. So I did a year or like a semester at Triton College, which is a little, what do you call that? I forgot what the hell they call it.
Not a junior college, like a prep school or something?
Yeah, like a prep school, junior college. It's junior college. Because I had no application I wasn't even on the radar for like I wasn't even on the radar.
You was music. You was like, I'm doing this music thing,
Yeah,
man.
I just thought I was gonna do that. I didn't think I was, and I didn't think you need school for it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
acting, to be honest with you. Because at the time, I just artistic. I still had acting in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But what took over at that moment was just something I could viably do by myself, which was make music. Because acting requires much more collaboration than music does. You can go, be a solo artist, but you can't really do that in acting.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a job acting also, which was when I was in my late 19s, which was a industrial. Industrial meaning we did these little skits for corporations,
Mm-hmm.
like skits against drug use, skits against alcohol. It was positive skits. But we
Mm-hmm.
made a lot of money though. So like in an hour, I made like $900.
Wow. Back then.
Yeah, back then,
Mm-hmm.
bro, 19, making like 900 a wop, doing that three
And people
times a
were
week.
hustling on the streets, ain't
I
getting
was
that.
making
Was
more
the
than
what's it
my
getting
old
at?
man was. It was like
Man,
hustling on the street,
yeah.
low level hustling on the street. That's when I was like, oh shit, I'm getting bread to do this. So it hit me like this is a profession,
Mm.
like I found the matrix of the professional design of the art.
Mm-hmm.
While in music, the music business is sort of a hustle. It's a different type of hustle. It's more connected to the streets, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Acting ain't really connected to the streets, So it took me away from certain environments that probably weren't that healthy for me. Acting did. It put me
Mm-hmm.
into a world of like, so now I'm around different people, I should say, and it just opened my mind up. And then I went away to school. So, I did that semester. I did all that. I used that semester to get all my applications and whatever necessary to go to school. And I went to school and I auditioned for college. So,
Wow.
I started to realize this shit pays off. I auditioned for college. I got a college scholarship for acting.
Wow. So that was at
up,
NIU, right?
yeah.
I was. Mm-hmm. So at this point, at this point, you had realized through the skits that the scholarship acting was gonna be paying some bills, and you love what you were doing.
Yeah, I already had a great interest in it, and then it was the first money I ever got. That was like, because I had little jobs. I worked at UPS for like 30 days. I never had another job than what you guys see me doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I never had a job. You know what I mean? So when I was like, I think 14, I tried to be not a paper, but a bag boy at a grocery store. So those are the only two experiences I had of employment, of regular employment.
Yeah.
So,
It's
I
kind of like
realized
you're born to do it, man. You're born to do what you're doing. Like if you can say that, like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are born to do something, but not everybody follow that or blessed enough to be able to do that or do the work to do that. But you seem like you were definitely born to do what you're doing, especially if you didn't have to go that other route. You didn't have the parents that just were like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. Just like kind of naturally fell into what you were supposed to do.
My parents did not take care. You heard, like it wasn't they took care of us spiritually. They took care of us in a loving way, but financially, systemics did its thing to us for sure. Systemic, I would say, we just didn't have a design on financing at all. Budgetary understanding. My father was like a big gambler, and so my old man gambled a certain amount of money away, didn't make that much in the first place. So we grew up poor. Block cheese. Remember government cheese? We had the government cheese. It come in a big brown.
Yeah, I remember.
That's just allergy shit. That's why my allergies suck today. We had powdered milk. We had, poverty shit for real. Money that was yellow, yellow and blue and red money. You know
Man,
what
I
I'm
used
saying?
to hate when my mom would send me to the store to make. Can you go get me a soda and get this? I gotta with that. I hate it.
You got the red money.
Man, you want red, green, orange, yellow, man. You walking in there with a book of different colors.
We got the rainbow money. I used to hate that, but I still had that stuff going on, and So them was damn near the good old days. Because
Yeah.
I like the ideology of that era more than now, you know.
Yeah. But God bless your parents, man, because like my dad used to tell me, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. And like I feel like that's what we do. We break cycles and we take things to another level. Like
That's true.
you and your brother, like your parents, like you and your brother are incredible. You know what I mean? So the thing you guys have accomplished, you're able to take care of your family. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So it's
true.
amazing. Yeah. So it's a blessing, man. Sometimes we come from that foundation just to show us what we don't want, so it points us in a direction where we're going. You know what I
And
mean?
it makes you a little tougher because the amount of rejection that life offers, people can have a difficult time with rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just have a philosophy about rejection that's different. You know, I look in terms of acting or in my profession, okay, I see rejection as their choice. You know, like I don't see it as having anything to do with me. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like, let's say you audition for some, Ivory, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't get the role, right? Or, you know, or after you audition for, you think you got the role, you did the best you ever did, and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't get the role, right? Um, well, think of it like a painting, though, and you ain't the painter of it. You just one of the colors. And even if you're the greatest purple ever seen, they're not painting with purple, bro. And that's not really rejection to me. That's their choice. I'm an artist who paints, you know. I choose whatever color I want. And if they don't choose ivory and they don't choose wood, well, they ain't want the purple and the red. They didn't want what those guys are. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
went with whatever other color they chose. And so I don't feel like the rejection of that. I feel still the empowerment of being the greatest color I am. I
That's
don't
beautiful.
feel rejection like people feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had opportunities that went away. I was supposed to do a film called Pinkville with
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Stone and at the time Bruce Willis, Woody Harrelson, and it all went away. I mean, I got the role. It wasn't no rejection, but what ended up rejected was the actual project itself. Like only about 2 weeks before we would leave to go shoot in Thailand. You know what I'm saying? And it's a true story, a Vietnam movie. And I had most incredible role, most life changing for an actor. It's like a life changing thing. I had already had some success in my life, so you know, it wouldn't have changed me in the sense like it would somebody you never seen before, but
Mm-hmm.
it would have elevated me to a point of, oh wow, this is like, it was just an amazing character. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, long story short, Pinkville was about the My Lai massacre that happened during Vietnam. But Oliver Stone, I got to know, you know, because we had the whole process of rehearsing. I rehearsed with him and Bruce Willis. It turns out he and Bruce Willis didn't have a great relationship because Bruce Willis was weirdly conservative Republican, and we know that
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Stone is the opposite of that. And
Absolutely.
um, and then it was produced by Tom Cruise for his company at the time, and they had some flop that occurred by another film, which affected the financing of the project that we were in. So you know, but the reason why I could associate it with rejection is because I had so many dreams about that film doing something for me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at that time. You know, this was probably, I don't know, it was over a decade ago that this was in my, you know, was supposed to be done. And I just had so much energy towards, oh man, after I do this film, you know, I'll be here now. You won't be able to ignore, you know, my talent. You know, basically
Mm-hmm.
was my thinking. There's no ignoring me. Because in the game and all entertainment too, in life too, people, if you're deniable at all, if you're not undeniable, you get denied. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be undeniable. If you're a rapper, you need to be undeniable. Think about sports, because you hoop, I hoop. If you could hoop, but you really just kind of like half-ass yourself around, you're getting denied. You're getting denied. Because
Absolutely.
unless you're the man, there's always one person on the squad that the coach say, nah, that's the man. He's a pure player. He worked harder already than everybody else to get there. He probably had a little more talent, a little more size, and he worked harder than everybody else. So he's the man. So he paid some dues that the other players on the court don't see. They don't know his dad was raising him when he was 3 years old. He was hooping already. And you started
Mm-hmm.
playing, not you, but people start playing, 12 years old, sixth grade or whatever. People typically start playing basketball around 11, 12. But some of these cats start at like 7, 5.
Early, yeah.
Yeah. And they end up with privilege, but earned privilege, not like what they call white privilege, which is privilege by birthright, which is a bunch of bullshit, but birthright privilege. Like that's why we don't have a monarchy, because there's no privilege through birthright in this country, like what a monarchy offers royalty. We don't have that here. We don't got kings and queens. It's a capitalist country. You're either a patriot, which is a soldier, really, or you're a capitalist, which is a businessman. And we ain't soldiers, in the army, and we ain't soldiers in the police force either, which is a little small militia of its own, which requires a military thinking personality. In fact, did you know that coming from the military, you make more money entering police force? Did you know? Maybe you knew
No,
that?
I didn't know that.
That's a fact.
So if you spend some time in the military, you're starting paying
Jump right into a police. That's why so many of the police officers come from the service, because think about it. You don't need gun handling training. It's certain you don't need brain. You don't need to be brainwashed or whatever they do to people. It's already happened.
Makes sense.
So you start out with a little bit more money than the other guys. So for me, as I was saying, just I'm all over the place a little bit, but as far as rejection, to go back to that, I heal that with my own personality. And as far as what's going on ideologically in this weird country, since I'm a capitalist, I try to keep my mind on earning in an artistic field. So it's challenging. I'm super blessed. Okay, super blessed. I made millions of dollars. I'm super blessed. I don't walk around like nobody who is a millionaire, because I don't believe in in that. You can't take money with you. When my father passed away, it was just a closet full of stuff. Stuff he couldn't take with him.
Exactly.
Clothes.
Yeah.
None of it really matters, and I'm sort of like a bohemian artist. Where it's like I'm not a bejeweled person who feels like my financial gain in life should, dictate how people see me, so, but I am fortunate to make money think about it, I'm making money in acting.
Yeah.
My father was a bus driver, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And also you're using,
my brother's a millionaire, we're very lucky, bro. I told you we grew up with powdered milk. You know what I'm saying?
And government cheese, that they get that allergy kicking. They got that affected them allergy.
That shit got me sick to this day, bro.
That was a jump start of the allergy.
Really,
right there.
real talk.
Yeah,
real
yeah.
Talk. We grew up with roaches in the crib, okay?
Yeah, you ain't the only one. Yeah, I know. I can relate to that, man. Honestly, man. Trust me, I'm with you. I feel you, man. It gives you that, but that foundation.
On, you heard?
Yeah, that foundation. But that foundation, man, I wouldn't change it, man. And I know you wouldn't either, man, because like I said, it just built, it strengthened, man. It's such a solid foundation to come from, man. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. The family,
nothing for the world, bro. Not for the world, because my kids grew up not like that, and I see the difference. I like the armor that I have on my body in my mind, actually, my ideological armor.
Love that.
From just my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the challenges of my upbringing, not all the beautiful stuff, but the challenges. Financial challenges make your family separate, and they put you through They put you through the woes that are dictated through the lack of money and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
So we had all of that stuff going on in the household. And, my parents and your parents too grew up in the Jim Crow, which is just form of slavery. Like I
Mm-hmm.
told my brother this thing. So, think about this, Ivory. Slavery was abolished in 1865. My brother was born 1965. Okay. So 100 years later, here's my brother being born into this world fresh out of slavery. Now I'm talking about the abolishment of slavery, but the whole 100 years was still dealing with that, and then we
Mm-hmm.
still are today. But
Still
at that
today.
time, Jim Crow was an extension of slavery in many ways worse because abolishing it didn't make it illegal. It had to be locally made illegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So abolishing slavery is just dealing with the Constitution. It's just dealing with how we constitute over the idea of slavery. Um, but it was not made illegal. So Jim Crow laws made Black people suffer equal or worse to when slavery was actually being implemented. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you and I walk outside, couldn't look at a white person, but literally, my mother grew up in Alabama. White person walking toward her, she got to stop, let them walk by. Can't even look at them. A
Yeah.
Black dude, if you spit outside, go to jail. Black codes, the Black laws.
Mm-hmm.
So they started to use legality to institute something lawlessness, and it's still like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're older, we're grown men, and we just got to know which battles to fight and fight them. And even if you got to fight them the rest of your life, it's just what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the first breakout role for you? What was the first breakout role
The
that
first
changed your
breakout
life?
role, I would say it was Above the Rim.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first thing I had auditioned for. That's what I mean by I'm so blessed. My brother set that audition up too. When he discovered that they had a script. Oh, he was like, my brother could hoop, and so I'm gonna get him an audition for this. So he
Mm-hmm.
went to an agency and said, "Would you represent my brother?" And then my brother called me like, "Man, listen, you need to go see this agent. I got them to send you on this audition." Oh yeah, yeah. So I go see him. I take my little picture. It wasn't a real headshot. It was just you know, a picture I blew up. It wasn't no
Mm-hmm.
professional job, bro. It was just, trust me, it was not anything. I wish I had it still, but
And you fresh out of NYU at this time?
no, I was a freshman in college, so I
Oh, okay.
was
So
not
this,
out in NIU, no NYU.
no,
See, I
that's what I
went from
said. NYU, and yeah, I said in
yeah,
New York University.
I was in my first year of grad school.
Mm-hmm.
That
Wow.
process was what happened was when I was finishing undergrad, I just didn't want to go back home because what would I be doing? Like
Yeah.
not like I had a degree and I can just go start getting work. I'm looking for a
Mm-hmm.
firm or something or practicing medicine or something. It was acting, so I didn't feel like I had enough um, education,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up auditioning for Yale and NYU and a number of other schools. Those accepted me, both of those schools. Those are the only two. All of the other smaller schools, that's why I tell people rejection is not quite what you think all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
auditioned for every school, like you would say in basketball. Every school had the opportunity. And when I say every, I'm about 40 schools. They have an audition process for college called leagues. And like the NBA league, it's called
Mm-hmm.
league. And it's when you take your acting, so you take your monologue and a scene, and you go before like 40 schools all in one day. And then at the
Wow.
end of the day, they let you know if they interested in you coming to the school or not. I went through that process. None of the schools, literally, bro, literally, none of the schools accepted me.
Wow.
None of them. Okay. Well, actually, one school on the list of maybe 45, and it was
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers. And Rutgers was actually the number one school among those 45 schools for acting. So I
Mm-hmm.
still like, some things are preordained. So even though, you know, literally 99.9% of the schools didn't accept me, the one that did was the best school,
Number
right?
one,
So,
yeah.
so but I still was kind of crushed by that. That was my little first thing dealing with rejection. So I went back
Mm-hmm.
to my school because we were in school when that happened. So I was in my senior year, my final year when I auditioned for that process. So when I went back to school to complete school, I had acting mentor at the time. His name is Gene Taruso. He's one of my greater teachers in the form of acting. He taught me Sanford Meisner stuff. And I
Mm.
actually got to know Sanford Meisner, and
Wow.
he was a protege of Sanford Meisner, Gene Taruso. So, I mean, I had some really early on amazing acting training, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's
But I
for
didn't know.
giving to give them a bath to give people who don't know those people a metaphor. Like for my people who watch this basketball,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like you
So
getting trained, like you're a rookie getting trained by who? Like you who like
that's like you a rookie and you got Popovich.
mm,
Now if you're a rookie and the person that's taking you to the side is like I'm gonna say Popovich or if Phil Jackson was when his heyday. It's like Sanford Meisner is um in the acting business. He is, man, it's hard to really put it into a perspective.
mm-hmm,
He's made so many great talents. The process of Meisner technique is not necessarily dealing with acting. It's dealing with
mm-hmm.
how you listen. It's trying to make you listen from a pure place. So it's not necessarily um, teaching you Shakespeare or, you don't even use like scenes. You know, you don't start out with that. You go into scene work a little later in the process. But you can do 2 years of learning Meisner and not even pick up a scene. So,
Mm.
it's a unique thing, but it's not really unique. It's just certain really talented actors, they have that in their repertoire because it's
Yeah.
dealing with listen so that I can listen to you and have listening eyes,
Mm.
which matter in
Mm-hmm,
acting.
mm-hmm,
So at the time, I don't know all that. I'm in the forest with the trees and I'm just learning, you know.
mm-hmm.
So when I go back to the school after being rejected by all those colleges, I told my mentor Gene Taruso, and he was like, "Whoa, you should only audition for the top schools." He said, "You supposed to go to Yale or NYU or something like that. And I suggest you do that." So I did, and they accepted me, bro. It's just as simple as that.
Wow,
So
what
I
a
ended up
beautiful
going to NYU. Meanwhile, I'm a rapper. Now I'm literally living in New York. So now it's like it's on as far as one of the first people I met when I landed there was the rapper who people call Most Def, right? Or Yassine Bey. He called himself Yassine Bey. At the time, his real name was Dante Smith. And
mm-hmm.
I met him. He was acting at the time, and I met a world of poets, New York rappers, and
Wow.
all of it worked as a filter for my creative self.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in '93, I landed the first thing. That was a long time ago. I landed above the rim, really in 93, 92, 93. Yeah, yeah.
But you know what, and you know what, man, like to get to that point, man, like you were so well trained, man. You were so well trained and ready for that moment. And I
That's
love
true.
how you're ready for that moment. You were ready. You know what I'm saying? And because
I
when you think
felt,
about
listen, let me just add to that.
go ahead.
I felt more ready than everybody else.
Mm,
Leon, Dwayne Martin, I love them too, by the way. Those are great guys. I didn't know Bernie Mac, but Bernie Mac at the time, Tupac, I felt more because I know they didn't have the training I had.
mm.
So the training gave me confidence, because I'm like,
Heck
well,
yeah.
I'm trained shit for years now. Even though it's my
Mm-hmm.
first movie, I'm probably the most trained person here.
Mm-hmm.
Plus I have talent, untrained skills, and now I have skills from training. And so I felt it gave me a boost of confidence. And Leon was the bigger star at that time. Tupac was this was like his second movie. excuse me, Marlon Wayans also. And so I just felt, and I just had confidence, bro, and I
It
still
showed.
carry
It
it.
showed. Yeah, it
Yeah.
showed, man. It definitely showed, man. So that's why I wanted you to paint that picture, and give that basketball metaphor, like who you work with. Can you imagine? Like that's what gave, like, Kobe was a good player. Jordan was a good player, but when they got with Phil Jackson and they can add those
It
nuggets, Tex
elevated them.
winners, and all, it elevated. You know what I mean? So you're seeing the game differently. Like you're talking to me about something I didn't hear an actor never say. Like you got to listen with your eyes. It's so important. Like all these little things, these little tips to get people the greatness, and that
Well,
training
the whole
is.
process is in your eyes. I'll tell you this: like what you think projects through your eyes.
Mm,
Um, you can crinkle up your face and do whatever you want, but what you think projects in through your eyes. So
mm,
even if you're doing a simple thing of making yourself have a happy thought in a scene, well, that's what your eyes will communicate. All right.
mm-hmm,
So, and a certain, so in acting, if you're not working with your eyes, then you're not on the inside at all. If
mm-hmm,
you're not using your eyes and ears, and then you speak. It's
mm,
not about talking. People think that there's a whole history of silent films. So it's not about talking, it's about communicating. And your eyes do most of that. Like I can look at you
yeah.
like don't do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, and not have words. I'm just more interested in that. And now as an actor, as you get more masterful in acting, because after 20 years, you're either a masterful person in this thing or I don't know what the hell to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been 20 years. Like
Yeah.
it's been a long time. But
Yeah.
now I'm lyrical. Like I feel like my goal is to be lyrical. When I look at the words on a script, I try to look at them like a song almost, rather than
Beastly.
yeah, yeah.
Beastly, man.
Yeah.
This is why, what, like, I didn't talk to you about why I started the show. Like I wanted to do the show to give people nuggets, to give people some positivity, some insight, some different thoughts, man. And like just naturally, you are dropping so many just because of who you are. And I knew this would happen, man. You're dropping,
Okay.
like, even for actors, for people, just even if you're not even acting, whatever you're doing in life, this mindset, your perspective, how you change, how you look at rejection, all those things are going to help people in navigating in life if you kind of
I hope
like.
so.
Yeah,
Because I
absolutely,
like
if
the
you're
young
listening.
people, bro. I
Yeah,
like the young
yeah.
actors. Like nowadays, when I come on a set, Ivory, young actors look at me the way I looked at the OGs I love. Lawrence
Mm-hmm.
Fishburne, Denzel Washington, and on up. I really look up to them. Because I always look at black people and I feel like, well, they got to be from some place close to where I'm from. They're like they might not have
Mm-hmm.
had uh, government
Roaches
cheese,
and government cheese, and turn on the light and see
but we
roaches
still,
playing
yeah, they
football.
might not. Yeah, they ain't turned the lights on to see 1,000 roaches, but maybe they did. But
Yeah.
they still have my history. We still
Mm-hmm.
have the actual brotherhood of history and
Mm-hmm.
the challenges that systemics have made us have. So I always feel unified with black people, even if
Yeah.
they're lawless or even if they don't make the best decisions. People like the gangsters and all that. I don't I don't look down at people. I don't. I'm pretty much a positive spirited person
Mm-hmm.
before everything else. I see the
Absolutely.
positive before the negative because um, you need to understand the negative, but you don't need to meditate on that. When you meditate and close your eyes, you shouldn't be seeing a burning house. When you meditate, if you meditate, you either see nothing, which is difficult, or you're finding serenity. You never, oh, let me take it down and go into a nightmare while I meditate. Like,
yo, it's so funny with how you're breaking it down, but you're breaking down what meditation truly is. But
yeah,
how you're doing it, like you don't go there like let me think about how I got so I ain't gonna say nothing real negative off the wall. But you get it. I get what you're saying, man.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
um, you just keep that positive energy around you. You know that
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow it will come. So you give tomorrow a chance. when you are not arrested by whatever toxic stuff you have. We all have a lot of toxic things in our lives because that's part of life. I couldn't imagine having life without the challenges we have. Like what the hell would that be like? And I need that. I'm the type of person that responds off of, oh, I can't. Like I do respond off of, oh, they said you can't, I can't do it. Now I gotta really try. Now I gotta really try. So you find yourself through the process of art if you're lucky enough. You can find stuff about yourself, know thyself, elements, and some is good, some is bad, but I take it all.
Oh, yeah. And this is
Big
the
fella.
dog you introduced me to. Introduce everybody to your dog that you adopted. This dog is beautiful. It's a Great Dane, and what is it? A Great Dane and a what mix? Doberman. Beautiful. The dog is great energy. I saw that dog in the car the other day. Look at him. What's his name?
That's Chaplin, my homie. This dude, man, he's serious, bro. Bro.
He's huge and beautiful, man. When you and I were talking, man, his eyes were like locked dead in on you, man. Locked in.
Yeah. He a guard dog.
I appreciate your time, man. You said 20, 30 minutes. You probably had I'm so glad you're present, man. A couple of things I want to ask you. Can you give us any vitamins, books, any tips or tools that you want to give people that you have that have helped you in your life or that continue to help you in your life?
If you're interested in acting and you are drawn to an actor, it could be me. It could be like I was drawn to Sean Penn. I look at his work and I try to figure out how to be more like that. Like you can look at actors and say, well, I want to be more like that particular actor. And then you can try to figure out what they're doing when you see what they do. But I don't really have any great advice for people. It's funny because whenever I'm working with the young actors, they all be like, yo, man, tell me, they just want a nugget or something, and I usually just tell them, to stay persistent and I just don't give up. People will dream about being actors their whole life and then they'll give up in 3 years. When shit don't happen in 3 little years, they'll be like, all right, so now I'm working at the post office or what. You know what I mean? Like they give up too easily. But that's easy to say. I'm very, very blessed, bro. I'm just, I'm a blessed individual as it relates to that stuff. Like, and I understand that now, and I really see it that way. I don't see it any different than that. I mean, I'm constantly in my life have stepped in the place to be. Like I'm there. I was at the audition for Above the Rim. You know what I'm saying? I've been very blessed. I when I got into NYU, they only take 15 to 20 people, and they have 2,000 to 3,000 auditions. So when I got into that school, it just made me feel special. Along the way, I've had things to communicate to me. Nah, you're kind of special, and I never put that down. I always allow that to live through me. I don't have any general nugget of information that I think, unless I gave it, that I think about.
You've been giving them this whole conversation.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a question that I like normally ask in case, like any books, because some people have books, like especially like actors that they want to recommend for people who want to get into acting, some self-help books or something that might be. But again, like you said, people who are avid readers read most of the books that you're going to mention.
Well, I'm big on sci-fi books, right? So I like stuff that push my imagination. So if you read anything of Octavia Butler, I read a many books of Octavia Butler. A Parable of the Sower is a great book. Again, Parable of the Sower, Sower, is a great book. But I use those to expand my thinking, I look at it like kind of like working out, even if you don't lift heavy weights, just lifting it all helps. You ain't gotta lift weights at all. You can go run. You don't even got to run. You can walk, okay, or swim. The workout is beneficial for you. It gives you more fortitude, more ability. So reading in general, if you read things that are hyper imaginative, like to me, sci-fi, um, reality also. So if you read texts, biographies, because reality is anything they wrote about in reality is probably outstanding. You know, they don't write about blase blah things, blase biographical information. So when you read elevated texts, Shakespeare, anything like that, and I'm blessed. I did Shakespeare in the Park. I did Broadway. I did off Broadway. I worked with Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward. I know them. Just blessed, bro. I'm blessed at this point to be like a guru in this kind of thing, you know. The way I would teach a class would be like Sanford Meisner, though. I would start with your instrument in general. I wouldn't just put a script in your hand and say, okay, let's do this. Nah, I want to know how you listen, how you move around, what physical being are you? What being are you? Then I can work with you as an actor. I don't have a lot of interest in teaching acting because it's one of the things I just don't do, you know. It would be a great class. I taught one time at Tasha Smith's acting school. And man, I had a lot of fun doing it too. It's just that I don't have the patience to be a school teacher because I like people who do what I tell them to do. You know what I'm saying? I like you to do what I say. You know what I'm saying?
You know, we have so much in common, man. You know, like we both know we're both Libras. So, and like a lot of things that you said just resonated me so much. Even when it comes to that, man, like it's that control thing, I think, and I'm learning to let go on certain things.
You seem to be good at that, bro.
I practiced, man. I had to practice. It was practice because, like, trust me, it's that same thing. Like, even as a parent, even as a parent with my own kids, because we were raised a certain way. And I'm even learning to adapt and adjust and not trying to control things and just allow, because people have their own journeys.
That's true.
Man, we used to get like little. We got paddles. I can remember middle school getting paddle. Like, can you imagine that right now? Somebody, a parent can't even paddle. Yeah, let alone a teacher.
Paddle my kid, I'm gonna go at you. Look, if you paddle my kid, back then they had the green light to paddle us from the parents.
Yeah, and then the parents would get you afterwards. After you got paddled, then you have to get it from your pop.
Then you got Look, let me tell you some wild shit. We used to go to school, right? And I used to go to school. My head be nappy and shit. And then, like on picture day, they want to comb your shit out, right? So they picking my shit. They picking my shit out. Man, all that. They said, stop crying. They were so mean. They just seemed like me.
Yeah.
So, like, but I'm blessed. I went to the high school in Hoop Dreams. So did you ever see the documentary Hoop Dreams?
Of course. Yeah.
So that's my high school, the Pingator. I played with Coach Pingator, the white high school.
Yeah.
But I grew up in the same neighborhood, Arthur Agee. So now anybody who saw Hoop Dreams, you saw my community where I grew up. So you know.
Exactly where it comes. And how about
I know those guys.
And how about this? Another thing we have in common a little bit. I grew up with the movie Lean on Me. I went to the school with Joe Clark. I went to Eastside High Group in Patterson, New Jersey. I went to that school for 3 years. Oh man, Joe Clark was my principal. The bat and the bullhorn, sing the alma mater. Oh yeah, my first year there. My ninth grade, my stepfather didn't let me go there because it was so rough. But Joe Clark came and he changed it around, and all my friends and he sent me to a Catholic school. And I hated that Catholic school. I was like, man, I want to go with my friends. When Joe Clark came, he allowed me to go there, man. And so I had great times at Eastside High. But that's the community I grew up in, yeah. So y'all like you,
bro.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Crazy, bro. That's crazy, bro.
The synchronicities are amazing, man. I appreciate your time, man. Totally appreciate your time, man. Yeah, man. So in conclusion, could you or if you had to leave us with some positive inspirational words, not like you haven't already done enough of that, but is anything a message you want to leave for like what we're going through right now, like the people,
I would say this about what's going on overall. this changing ideology we're dealing with in America and the pandemic situation that's starting to it seems like it's starting to go down, which is good. I feel like this, and it's positive to me. I hope it's positive to others. I feel like what don't kill you make you stronger, you know. And a lot of people died of COVID and of iatrogenics, hospital related, probably. Ventilators and stuff are very dangerous. But I feel like on the other side of this is a lot more awareness and strength. And the strength is ideological. The strength is in the brain. You know, the strength is coming in a form that is something we've not had. And I'm glad that in our lifetime, these challenges, I'm not happy about the challenges we have as Black people, but I'm happy that we're armed to fight them. You know, I'm happy that there is a tribe of us that is capable of holding off, you know, the onslaught of negativity, you know. And I'm a member of that tribe. I don't feel pressed to be negative. I feel pressed just to be ordinary and let the roller coaster of life. Think of it this way. This might be a cool thing. You know, roller coaster goes up and down like a wave pattern. But when it's going down, it's picking up momentum to come up again. You need the down part. People don't
love it.
Yeah, I mean, you just need that, and that's scary. But the whole ride is scary. Okay, the down part picks up momentum. It takes you through the whole course. So if you survive, you're inevitably stronger. And with your strength, what will you do with it? You know, it's up to you. You know, to turn the page, because this world has been washed over now. It's almost like a clean canvas. Ivory and wood can do anything now. We can do anything.
Exactly. Exactly. You wake up every morning with a fresh canvas, man. And you look at it, if you wake up, you're blessed. Look at it like that. Like just what you said. It's a fresh canvas. Every morning is a fresh canvas. You can do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely, man. Absolutely, man.
Sometime, bro.
Yeah, man.
Shoot some.
Yeah, and you're talking about your nephew that is a fourth grader that got game. Let's set a time where we can go out there and give him some shooting lessons together. Yeah, some shooting lessons. Absolutely.
Hey, they say the gyms are going to open back up too on Monday. So I'm gonna find a gym.
Monday. Wow.
Monday.
All right, let's find
25% capacity, but yeah, the gyms will still be open.
Okay. Yeah, let's find a place to get some jummies up, man. For real, man.
That's what it is, boy. Because y'all,
I appreciate you, man.
Know. We hoop though. We hoop. Y'all don't know.
Yeah, we hoop. Serious super. Serious hoopers. I know you. I know you're still dunking.
We over 6'2". You heard? Like, stop it.
Are you still able to dunk?
I can still dunk, but I can't land, bro. I can get off the ground, but that landing.
That's what I'm trying. You can get up, but it's that landing. That's why you don't want to. Yeah, man.
That's why I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. The other day at class, man, I posted a video of me jumping over 5 feet. And when I looked at, you know, in my head, these kids challenged me, right? So I was like, my kids challenged me out the field. So we set up something and I had to run and jump over it. So it's 5 feet. So I took off. The takeoff was great. But in my head, I was like, please don't hurt on this landing. And when the video slow motion, you can see like my knees in slow motion, like going to like 8 different directions. It was like, man, are you crazy for doing that shit, man? Like never again.
I tore my Achilles twice. I tore my shit twice on the same ankle, bro. So it's not my jumping leg, but it's my landing leg, bro. And I never want to tear it again. So I got a little anxiety about that stuff.
Yeah. I feel you. I
need a jumper.
No, that's it. Just hit that jump shot. Just hit that. Just set up there and knock that.
I'm gonna go run from top of the key to top of the key. That's it. I'm going top of the key, bro.
And hit that jump shot. That's it, man.
That I appreciate it. Once a motherfucker get around me, it's over.
Yeah, but back in the day, I remember you would meet him at the top of meet him at the square.
Yeah.
Boom, give me
that's
that.
All I wanted to do.
Give me that. You'll give a person a lane to take a chance. Just let me get that up there.
Let me see if I can bang this on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never in my life thought about the landing, bro. Now I think
So
about it. I never thought about the landing.
it's different, man. It's different, man. Have a beautiful, blessed day, man. I appreciate you. Love you, brother, man. I'm gonna
It's
hit you up,
always
man.
love, my friend.
Always,
We'll do this
always, man.
again.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because there's
Bet.
a lot I could talk to you about, man. And I'm sure you can give a lot of people want to hear from you, man. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, man.
We'll do it again, bro. That's what it
All right,
is.
all right, all right. Have a great day,
Catch you
brother.
later.
All right,
Peace.
peace.